Welcome back to Time-Tested Mastery Life Lesson Cell. Today I'm talking to the broker, the team leader, the sales manager, or the agent who already knows the words but still wonders why their message is not landing. Here is the truth. Sometimes the problem is not the script. Sometimes the problem is the way the script is being delivered. In week 2 of Control Before Confidence, my 8-week course, we work on diction, consonants, vowels, and clean word endings. Now, I know that does not sound as exciting as objection handling, listing scripts, closing techniques, or lead conversation, but stay with me. Because if your agents are rushing, mumbling, swallowing words, running out of breath, or sounding casual when the moment calls for clarity, the client may never get far enough to appreciate the script. The client may not say that agent dropped the final consonant on contract. They may not say that agent's vowels were muddy. They may not say that agent sounded like they were rushing because they were nervous, but they feel it. And in sales, what the client feels often determines whether they keep listening. A real estate client is already under pressure. They are talking about money, timing, family, risk, debt, inspections, contracts, and decisions they do not make every day. They are trying not to make a mistake. So when an agent's communication creates more work for the client starts to resist. That resistance may look like hesitation. It may sound like, well, think about it. It may show up as silence, delay, or second guessing. But underneath it, very often is this: the client doesn't feel settled yet. And one of the simplest ways an agent can help a client feel more settled is to speak clearly enough that the client does not have to fight to understand them. Here is one of the phrases I teach in week 2. Finished words create finished thoughts. And finished thoughts create confidence for the client. That matters. If an agent says contract like contract, or priced like price, signed like sign, client like client, or market like market, the message starts to feel unfinished. Again, the client may not consciously diagnose that, but they're trying to follow the thought. They're trying to trust the professional. They're trying to decide whether this person can guide them. And if the delivery sounds rushed, swallowed, or incomplete, the client's brain has to work harder. Trust-based selling is not just about being ethical, it's also about being clear. And clarity lowers friction. Clarity lowers anxiety. Clarity helps people tell the truth. That is why this connects directly to the Trust the Truth method. Before people will tell you the truth about what they fear, what they want, what they can afford, and what they are really trying to solve, they need to feel safe with you. And safety is communicated in more ways than words. It is communicated through pace, through breath, through posture, through eye contact, through finished sentences, through the sense that you are not scrambling. Week 2 is not about turning agents into performers. It's about helping them become clear, calm, credible, and convincing. Let me give you a simple buyer example. An agent might say, before we start looking at homes, we should probably talk a little bit so I can get a better idea of what you're after. Now, there is nothing wrong with the words, but said too casually, too quickly, or without clean endings, it can sound optional. It can sound like a throwaway line. Now listen to the same idea with more control. Before we start looking at homes, we should meet first, so I can understand your goals, protect your time, and help you make a better decision. You see, that's different. It's not pushy, it's not theatrical, just clear. We want to sound like a professional, and clients want to be led by a professional. Not pressured, but led. There is a big difference. Now, during practice, I ask agents to exaggerate. I ask them to over-articulate words like contract, signed, priced, closed, client, market, property, value, consultation, decision, representation, negotiation, and confidence. And yes, it feels awkward. Good. When you practice guitar scales, you do not practice them fast and sloppy. You slow down. You put your hand in the right position. You build the right movement. Because if you practice with poor technique, you may get faster, but eventually that bad technique becomes the ceiling. And communication works the same way. If an agent practices scripts while rushing, running out of air, swallowing endings, and sounding nervous, they are not just practicing scripts, they are reinforcing the very habits that we can trust. Perfect practice matters. Not perfect performance, perfect practice. We slow it down so the brain and body can learn a better pattern. That is why I tell agents to practice at about 80% of their normal speaking speed. Not because they will speak that slowly in real life, but because slowing down gives them control. It gives them time to breathe, finish words, shape vowels, and hear themselves. Once the body learns the skill, it becomes more natural. And this is where confidence begins to change. A lot of people in sales have heard the phrase, fake it till you make it. I understand why people say it, and I adopted it. But here's the problem. When you are faking it and the client tests you, you feel exposed. You feel nervous. You wonder if they can tell. Control before confidence is built on a different idea. Don't fake it, train it. When agents train their breath, their diction, their pace, their word endings, and their delivery, they begin to hear themselves differently. They begin to feel prepared. They begin to sound more professional because they are becoming more professional. That is not fake confidence. That is earned confidence. For brokers and team leaders, this is a serious leadership issue. Most offices already teach scripts. Most teams already have dialogues. Most agents already have access to training videos, role play groups, CRM campaigns, and lead sources. But many agents still struggle when the real client is sitting across from them. How do I make a real human connection? Knowing the words is not the same as owning the delivery. A script on paper does not create trust. A script delivered with calm, clean, clear, professional control can. And that's the gap. And it is the gap worth closing. In week 2, we do not change the agent's entire presentation. We keep the message mostly the same, but improve the delivery, one thing at a time. And that matters too. Agents can get overwhelmed when they try to fix everything at once. Posture, breath, pace, eye contact, energy, the smile, our script, objection, body language, closing questions. That is too much. So we isolate one skill. This week, week 2, the skill is diction. Finish the final consonants. Open the vowels. Slow down before the words that carry meaning. Do not let the sentence trail off at the end. Say words like consultation, contract, decision, representation, and negotiation like they matter, because they do matter. And if the agent does not sound like those words matter, the client may not treat them like they matter either. This is especially important in today's real estate environment. Clients are more skeptical. They are more informed, but not always more knowledgeable. They are carrying more fear around about affordability, commissions, market value, interest rates, and whether they can trust the person advising them. So your agent cannot afford to sound casual about serious things. Warm, yes. Human, absolutely. Casual about the client's risk? No. There is a way to be friendly and still sound like the adult in the room. And that is what we are training. And this is where the business application becomes very practical. If your agents can explain a buyer consultation more clearly, they will waste less time. If they can explain pricing more calmly, they will create less defensiveness. If they can explain representation with confidence, they will protect their value. If they can slow down during objections, they will stop escalating the client's anxiety. If they can finish their thoughts, clients can finish their thoughts. And when clients can finish their thoughts, they make decisions. And that's the point. Not pressure, not manipulation, not clever closing tricks. Clear communication that creates emotional safety, uncovers truth, and helps people make decisions they can live with. That is why I built control before confidence. Because confidence is not something we yell at agents until they magically get it. Confidence is built through control. Control of their breathing, control of their pace, control of their mouth, control of their message, and control of the moment. When agents gain that control, they stop sounding like they are trying to survive the conversation. They start sounding like they can guide it. So here's my challenge for you this week. Take one script you already use. Don't rewrite it. Do not make it fancy. Just slow it down. Mark the important words. Practice the final consonants. Open the vowels. And record yourself once. Then ask 3 simple questions. What worked? What is one thing I can improve? And what is the one word or phrase I will need to practice over and over again? That is how real improvement happens, one honest repetition at a time. For the brokers and team leaders listening, if your people are good people with good intentions, but their conversations still sound rushed, uncertain, or unfinished, they may not need more hype. They may need better training in how to communicate under pressure. That is where my Control Before Confidence course comes in. Because when agents speak with more clarity, clients feel more confidence. And when clients feel more confidence, they are more willing to tell the truth. And truth is where real service begins. This is Mark Dolan with Time-Tested Mastery Life Lesson Cell. Remember, finishing words create finished thoughts. And finished thoughts create confidence for your client.